I would say like when it comes to melanated men, right? Like especially in these spaces, there are some guys that I think put out way too much, and I think they should maybe put little, little pieces or whatever. There could be some decorum to it. I think some guys are sloppy. What say you?
Well, there is truth to what he says. Shout out to Garden Scientist, your moderator, for the $10 super chat. There is, like in real life, 2 or 3 things can be true at the same time. So there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. Brothers typically are show-offs. We're flamboyant. Look at me, I'm stunting. I'm that's why I'm throwing money in the air. That's why I'm being flashy. Brothers do too much and are too loud and can be reckless. That is true. But I'll also say that there are white boy YouTube channels, but normally the white boy YouTube channels are going to talk about Asia. They like to talk about Philippines and Thailand, not so much the Caribbean, Latin America. White boys tend to focus on Asia with YouTube content. The thing that sparked Big Boss, guess what? A white boy, a European, right? A European white boy is what put the battery in my back and put me in his group and supercharged me. So to say that white guys don't do it and they don't talk about it, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And it's more of them than us, right? For the most part. So, but again, not to take away from this comment, because this comment is actually, there's truth to it. Brothers on a whole, not everybody, brothers on a whole, and I have been guilty of this myself, are loud, are boisterous, are reckless, are show-offs. They want to stunt. They want to floss. Everybody look at me, look at what I'm doing. They put everything out there, and now they mess up spots. They mess up sweet honey spots because they telling all the secrets. They telling all the good stuff, and they blow it up. And then next thing you know, you get an influx. True, 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 true. I keep it real. But also, white boys do it too. White boys been doing it longer, and there's more of them. And what they do tend to do, they still do the YouTube, but they also even break it down to have websites, right? That a lot of brothers are not going to go to. Again, the brothers are not going to read and shift through all that data on these trip reports on the websites. For the brothers, we're visual learners. We want to see it on a YouTube video. And the white boys have whole dedicated vlogs about it. So you have to take that with a grain of salt and nuance. And that's real talk with Big Boss.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so let me get to my final 2 questions here. So from your perspective, why do you think that mongering is frowned upon in these spaces, whether we call it the travel sphere, manosphere? I mean, to me, I think it's really all in one, because these are spaces that men are congregating and trying to help each other out one way or another. So my interpretation, I call it the manosphere, but some people call it the travel space, and they say they're 2 different things. I digress. Now, the thing is that what say you to people who frown upon guys who monger?
Okay, I'm going to take that and break it down into 2 sections.
Sure.
You have the outside world, basically the passport haters, whether that be the modern women, mainstream society, even these simp guys, these simp white knight cup defenders, the men who support these modern women. So the outside passport haters. And then, but what's more insidious to me is sometimes fellow travelers. To me, that's very insidious that we have a fellow male passport, so-called passport bro, fellow travelers, and we have this kind of internal self-hate and infighting. I admit I'm involved in it up to the gills, it is what it is. I give as good as I take. I think it's very unnecessary. I think it's destructive. But you know, like the one brother said, everything the brothers touch seem to turn to dust type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frowned upon. You know, everything comes back full circle. The word monger, the end is the way we started it, full circle. The word monger, when it first was developed in the 1600s, it was a pejorative, negative term to describe something that happens, right? What happens, happens. It is what it is. It happens. Guys will be guys. Some guys are like this. Not every guy is, but many guys are like this. Men who are sexually promiscuous, who sleep around with a lot of women, who shun the institution of marriage for the most part. They don't get married and settle down. They want to sleep around with a lot of women. Society calls them mongers or whoremongers as a way to shame them and say, this guy is a monger. He's a whoremonger. He's promiscuous. He sleeps around. He's not marrying one chick. He's sleeping with everybody. He's a monger. That was always a negative term to try to shame guys. So now when you fast forward to now, it's still happening. It's still happening. And so that term was always negative. And since it's negative, I get it. Who really wants to wear a negative, pejorative term around their neck that society tends to look down on? So that's why guys do it. They do it. The guys they're absolutely going to do it, but they throw the rock and they hide their hands. They don't want to be called that because it's a negative term. Me, kind of like 8 Mile will be like, hey, I would take your negative term, I will embrace your term, and I'll just make it great. You can't shame me. You know, you can't shame me for doing what I want to do. You know, again, as long as I'm not breaking no laws, I'm not hurting nobody. It doesn't matter if I don't conform to your opinion or society's opinion of what I should do. Especially with a magic touch of the pen, they can change it any freaking time anyway. So today is legal, tomorrow is illegal, and vice versa. Whatever the dominant society says, with a magic touch of a pen, any legislator can just change anything. So now what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm living my life. I'm living my best life. I'm not hurting nobody. I make sure I do the research before I jump off the porch nilly-willy to know what's right and what's wrong, what's legal, where I don't get myself in legal hot water. And now outside of the legal hot water, real life, boots on the ground in some of these countries, you got to watch how to move so you don't get robbed, you don't get drugged, you don't get kidnapped, and nothing crazy situations. So blah, 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 run-on sentence. A lot of guys, they don't want the negative connotation, negative association. And I get that. Who does? Outside of Big Boss. But my thing is I'm not gonna let people use words to control me, to remote control me like a slave from your words, because I don't conform to what you think I should do and how you move. Hell, nowadays, almost everything else goes anyway. Again, same-sex marriages used to be illegal until Barack Obama in 08, 09 made it legal, you know, with his court system under him, the federal courts under him. So things changed. Marijuana here in California. Guys used to go. I remember I'm 52 years old. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. The 80s in Oakland. Hello. Guys would go to jail for selling weed. Now here in California, especially Oakland, we have weed shops on every corner. Now it's magically legal all of a sudden. So miss me with all this moral stuff. Guys are going to do what guys are going to do, and they shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't be scared and let other people control them and mind control them and shame them with words.